archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. Now I never been down with no OPP. I talk about selling our people's property. Don't know who doing it, so don't round me out. Don't send no police round me and tell me shush my mouth. Where's our conviction? But where's our pride? We selling everything, selling our backside. Just go online, it'll make you sick. You can buy any island, just point and click. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. Hey, hey. Ride him. My mother always say, when you find a donkey, ride it. Who's the donkey here? Huh? Come on. We got a whole nation in 73. Now we getting back the whole country. What kind of fools we must be, selling out for a bag of rice and a cup of tea. You know what does bug me? Help me understand. I can't find piece of property for under 80 grand, but I can fix this. I know what to do. I can squat just like them other people try make me do. See, they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. I get everybody sells some every time. They're selling one island, eating away one key. What can be left for you and me? Is this the example? What's our kids to do? You want them have a sense of pride, or go selling too? Cause they're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling our whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country, yes man. They're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling our whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha. They're selling our country, yes, they're selling our land. They're selling our archipelago of sea and sand. Now break down the acronym like you in class. Oh, they're selling the whole country. Ooh, they're selling aha.
Whoa, girls, we outdoing it?
Besides jobless, what happened this morning or today?
Well, I was terminated based.
Or today?
Well, I was terminated based on an incident that happened on Friday. Friday morning, I was in the Coral Towers dealing with an appeal. When I reached in Royal Towers, they're already in briefing. And I asked to speak with our
Sit beside me, jobless. What happened this morning or today?
Well, I was terminated based on an incident that happened on Friday. Friday morning, I was in the Coral Towers dealing with an appeal. When I reached in Royal Towers, they're already in briefing. And I asked to speak with our general manager, which is Mr. Jackson Reach. And the assistant director told me that he was in a meeting. I said, well, he promised me he was coming in briefing this morning. I said, I called him yesterday, and he told me he was coming this morning in briefing. So she went inside and she called, and we stayed downstairs till Mr. Reach came. So when he came, he called me in the office as a shop steward, not a line staff. And the matter we was discussing first was about Independence t-shirts. We know the hotel normally provides the t-shirts for us to wear on Independence Day. They were telling us that we have to buy t-shirts and they wanted us to wear white. So we asked why we couldn't wear the Independence colors. So he then said, okay, y'all could wear the Independence colors as long as it's the colors that's within the flag. So we said, okay. So we asked, why wasn't the hotel providing it this year? Normally they provide it. So he said, they can't afford to provide the t-shirts. So my words then was, Mr. Reach, I said, y'all treating us like slaves. I said, we come in here every day and we make things happen. I said, is it possible for us to speak with Audrey or Russell Miller to find out why they cannot afford to buy a t-shirt for us? It all started with the t-shirts. So he said, I don't feel as though they treating you all like a slave. I said, Mr. Reach, I said, that's your feeling. How I feel, you can't speak for me. I said, furthermore, we come in here every day. Sometimes we don't have stuff and we make things happen. Some days we have 1,000 checkouts and we make sure those checkouts are clean for guests to come in and go out. We were busy last week. We had good checkouts, checkout come in. So he was like, oh, I can't answer you that question. So I said, Mr. Reach, well, then we'll stay in our work area. We never started work. We never moved out of housekeeping. We were in housekeeping in our briefing area the whole time. I said, Mr. Reach, is it possible for Audrey or Russell to come now? I said, y'all can't buy a $10 t-shirt for us. Y'all can't bring the bus system back. You can't give us our back pay we don't work for. We worked for. I said, could someone come and explain to us what's going on? So
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending your Thursday evening with us. We apologize that we couldn't be with you on Tuesday at 8 p.m. as is normally the case. I was in the midst of traveling and dealing with some other matters. But we thank you for being here. Thursday is not a usual day for us. So what you got to do is you got to go and share this. You got to share this message. You got to share this live. Tag some of your people right on here and let them know that we are live and that the truth is out there because that's what this is all about. The media has decided to block the truth. They don't want the truth on their platform, and they just want to twist the truth in favor of the government, and that's what they decided to do. We have decided to use these platforms where you can see scrolling on the bottom where you can get these, including LinkedIn, Twitter, um, on YouTube and on Facebook. And many of you are watching this on YouTube right now. A lot of people started watching it on YouTube, so you can see it on your TV, on the big screen, and see everything clear. And you can see the comments from all of our platforms, not just from your Facebook if you're on Facebook. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. We are going to continue to stand up for the Bahamian people because no one else is standing up for us. We got a lot to talk about this evening, and we're going to get through it as fast as possible, as fast as we can. So make sure you get on here, and we want to hear from you also. And we're going to get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in from wherever you are tuning in from. I'm going to make sure our comments are up there. We don't see your chat overlay going there for you to be able to see the chats on the side of the screen. Let's see if we can refresh that and see what's going on here. Okay, we don't see the chat overlay happening for you. We don't know why that's happening. Yeah, I'm looking at a big screen to my left. We don't know why it's happening, but normally it's there. And since it isn't there, we'll just leave it for now and see what happens. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Listen, the country just spent millions and millions of dollars on what they call independence. Independence is just a word. Um, it's a legal word. Let me explain independence to you very briefly, because this would help you to understand our policy and why we are going to a republic. Independence is one of the biggest shams in human history. It is one of the biggest ripoffs, and it is one of the most silliest things that we've experienced as a human race. It is probably the most silliest thing that we've experienced as a human race, and we allow it, and we're comfortable with it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, after World War One and Two, the European countries were basically bankrupt, especially England, which is the country that had colonized the Bahamas. They were not able to afford their colonies anymore, and so they started this process of first self governance, which means that you're still under them, but they'll allow you to operate yourself and do what you have to do. And then there was another process, and which started under the UBP. So the whole independence process started under the UBP, not under Finland. Finland was going along with it; it was already in motion. Under the UBP, this process started, and then it evolved into independence. And so independence only meant that you have to pay your own bills, but on paper, we still rule you. And so on June 20th, 1973, an act of parliament in the UK allowed the Bahamas to become an independent nation. They call independent. It was just a label that they put on it. And so, by this act of parliament, they gave us independence, which means that you cover your own bills, you're responsible for yourself, but technically, we still rule you. So, you will still swear to us, and we will still have the last and final say. That's what independence is. So, you're not technically independent because one of the first things I learned in law school in England was that if by act of parliament they can give you freedom, by act of parliament, they can take it back. I hope you understand that. Let me repeat that for you. No uh, future parliament is bound by a previous parliament. And so, if it was an act of parliament that gave you independence, a simple act of parliament can take it back from you. That's how powerful that is. All right? Because if someone gives you something, they can take it back. And so you're not technically your own man, per se. Okay? And so that's what independence is. And that's why we still have all of these vestiges of the crown. That is why we're still bound by them. So independence is not real. And so this 50 years that we're celebrating, it's not technically real. It's just another arrangement to where we went from fully controlled by them, where they paid all the bills, etc. They gave you government cheese. They used to give out cheese to Bahamians. They gave you government cheese and gave you some milk, etc., from the government to sustain you because people were poor. And that moved into, listen, you will be able to have your own say. We're not going to be too much in your say. And that's not under the UPP. All right? And then it moved to, listen, you pay your own bills. Don't bother us. We don't have the money, so y'all go do your own thing. We'll keep Bermuda, Cayman, Turks and Caicos. The rest of y'all on your own. And so that is really what it was. So what we are celebrating, we might as well celebrate from the beginning, hundreds of years, when we started our first parliament. Because all it was an arrangement in 1973. We are still not our own country. We will not be our own country until the next election is called and the Coalition of Independence becomes the government, and we go back to the people almost immediately, and we become a republic like Barbados did. Once we become a republic, then we can start counting the years. Right now, we are still under the British. Your constitution says so. That the Queen, they put it all the way in the middle of the document. The Queen has all executive authority. She's still your titular head of state. And so all of this celebration is nonsense. What is so interesting is that the Queen doesn't, or the King, sorry, I said the Queen. The King doesn't even rule the Queen or the King doesn't even rule in England. In England, Parliament is sovereign in England. There's a Prime Minister that rules. And the Queen, by convention, is not allowed to go against Parliament or the Prime Minister. Whatever they say goes. And so if you don't rule there, how can you rule us? What is this strange arrangement that makes no sense in humankind? Well, the King actually had an address to the Bahamian people. The King. I'm going to play that address for you. I hope you enjoy it. King Charles himself addressed the Bahamian people. Again, remember that anytime you hear a politician speak, they're not doing what I'm doing and what I will continue to do. They are not giving you their words. A speech is handed to them. They're allowed some time to practice it, and they're just reading to you a speech that was handed to them. They don't write their own speeches. So some people say, oh, this politician gave a good speech. That speech was good. You hear what he said? That speech was written for him. I remember there was a time when I was the president of the Bahamian Association at Florida Memorial College, and I was inviting politicians to come down and speak to the Bahamians. We had the biggest association in the school, and I was inviting them down, and when I was inviting them down, I was inviting a particular member of parliament, and he said to me, well, Neville, listen. And he said to me, okay, I'll come. I said, wow, awesome. He said, but you can send me the speech so I can just read over it. I was like, what do you mean send you the speech? He's like, yeah, you have this, that's what you do. When you invite a politician, you write the speech. I write the speech? Listen, man, I'm in school. I'm in college. I don't have time to write your speech for you. You speaking. Like, no, you have to write the speech. Send it to me. I said, my friend, you ain't coming there. that's basically what I said. And then I started to realize that that is the practice. And so let's stop being impressed by these speeches of these politicians. All right, it's handed to them. It's not really their words. They're just reciting. All right, and so let's stop worshiping politicians. Don't worship any politician. Right? They're not as great as you think they are. It's like the Wizard of Oz. It's just some small man in his pajamas behind the curtain. Wake up, Bahamas. I'm going to let you hear from the king himself, the man who is king of England but doesn't rule England. How can you be a king if you have no dominion? That doesn't even work biblically. And so, the king of England, ladies and gentlemen, after I let you see this speech, I'm going to tell you why this speech is so curious to me. Why it's so curious. But first, ladies and gentlemen, this is the King of England, and apparently, according to Keith Bell, the King of the Bahamas.
The Bahamas has always held a special place in my affections. I remember with great fondness my visit in July 1973, when serving in the Royal Navy in HMS Minerva, to attend the Independence Day celebrations. I particularly recall the police band first playing March on Bahamaland, the first moment the flag of black, aquamarine and gold was raised, and no fewer than 3 independence balls when I danced at the first one with the wife of the then Prime Minister, now of course Dame Marguerite Pindling. The people of the Bahamas have always given such a warm welcome to my family and myself, and I know that my mother, the late Queen, and my late father retained equally happy memories of their 5 visits to the Bahamas between 1966 and 1994. I'm also most grateful for how you all welcomed my elder son and daughter-in-law, the Prince and Princess of Wales, last year, and how the many young participants of the Governor-General's Youth Award welcomed my brother and sister-in-law, Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, this spring. It is thus perhaps no surprise that for my family and myself, the Bahamas has always felt like a home away from home, both in public and in private. Much, of course, has happened since my last visit. Most recently, I know the unchecked crisis of global warming and climate change continues to ravage these islands. Members of my family have related to me their discussions with the people of Grand Bahama and Abaco, and I have heard of your resilience and compassion for one another following Hurricane Dorian, as well as how international organizations, including the Royal Navy, responded so swiftly. Throughout the last 50 years, there are so many stories to celebrate of Bahamian leadership on the global stage, of sports stars, playwrights, Olympians, chefs, authors, business leaders, film stars, musicians, artists, inventors and designers. You can all be enormously proud of what has been achieved. And of special importance to me, throughout the past 50 years, the Bahamas has been an indispensable member of our Commonwealth family. I felt it of great importance that my family play a part in your anniversary year, and that is why I hope to be able to celebrate with you as soon as possible and to meet some of the many Bahamians already shaping the next 50 years, such as Christina Fernanda, the first female chairperson of a winning Junkanoo group, young sailors such as Craig Ferguson, aspiring to the Olympic pioneering climate scientists such as Alana Vellacott, Marjan Finlayson, and Charles Hamilton. And of course, Dame Marguerite, who I hope will save her next dance for me. From Andros to San Salvador, Eleuthera to Inagua, Grand Bahama to Nassau, and across the beautiful family islands of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, my wife and I send you all our warmest and most heartfelt congratulations at this very special time. Forward, upward, onward, together. Happy 50th anniversary of independence. March on, Bahamaland.
And so the Bahamas is so important to him that he's not here for our 50th. Royals have visited other countries on their 50th and their special occasions, but we don't even mean enough for him to be here. He says, oh, it means so much to me that hopefully I get to visit you all one day in the future. Just come before next election. All right? Because after that, it won't mean anything to you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are led by persons who were born under the Queen. And I think this has left a stain of slavery on their minds. They have a slavery mentality, and there's nothing worse than making a slave a king, according to Dr. Miles Monroe. It's left a stain on their brains. They're so used to worshiping Massa. And that's why none of them can think about empowering Bahamians. None of our leaders. I don't blame the Queen, the King, or anyone else. I blame our leaders because it's been 50 years, according to them. 50 years. 50 years of absolute failure, absolute foreign worship. 50 years of putting everyone before Bahamians. 50 years of that. That's a half a century of being subservient slaves. 50 years of a crumbling nation. 50 years of being a part of a nation that is crumbling. We were warned that, we would have to be ready for the future. This guy did a good job warning us.
There will be many more events like this, but the euphoria will pass, and like the morning after, Bahamians will have to wake up and face realities. Steeply rising costs, rising unemployment, the damaging effects of new immigration laws, and a crucial decline in the tourist industry. All of them new problems which will severely test the mettle of a new nation. Joe Werdum, ABC News, Nassau, the Bahamas.
Everything he said is relevant to today. He talked about rising costs. He talked about immigration. He talked about everything he talked about came to pass. And it's actually relevant today. So we've had a nation that has failed. Our educational system is a failure. Our healthcare system is a failure. Crime has gotten worse and worse since 1973 to now. We have grandmothers being raped in their homes. Grandmothers, 80-year-olds being raped in their own homes. Well, if we don't take rape seriously, then of course it's going to happen. We have a member of parliament who they took a month before they even questioned him. But the commissioner of police is trying to convince you that that's the normal process. That's the normal protocol. It is not. I was a police officer, and I can tell you that nothing that they're doing with Kurt Cornish is the normal procedure. It is corruption. It's simple as that. Our transportation system is a failure. Our electricity is a failure. Infrastructure is a failure. There is no area of our society that is better now than it was 50 years ago. It's all failure. Failure. Nassau, the jewel of our nation, the capital. If your capital looks like that, you failed. If your capital looks the way Nassau looks, you have failed. Everyone at least tries to make their capital look good. Come on, Bahamas. Will we continue to accept this? Will it be another 50 years of foreign worship? Will it? I was shocked and dismayed when I saw that at our 50th independence, they honored 2 foreigners. Of all the Bahamians living and dead that could have been honored after 50 years, they could have honored the 50 greatest Bahamians dead or living. They could have honored Bahamians. They could have found 50 Bahamians and honored them right there. Just call their names. They never even call them on the stage. They honored a congresswoman from the U.S., Maxine Waters. I like her. But I'll tell you a backstory. There's an event that's supposed to take place in Miami in short order. And they were going to give Brave Davis Humanitarian Award for his great work in being a humanitarian. Until some persons in Florida, some of Bahamian descent and others who saw what happened at CARICOM protested. They spoke to, I think it was Maxine Waters, there's another congresswoman I think was involved, but they spoke to them and said, listen, what Brave Davis did in the Bahamas is unthinkable. And they decided, well, the congresswoman said, listen, that's what happened. I am not getting it that. I am not going to be honored. He's not being honored anymore. They're still going to let him come and be a part of the event, but he's not going to be honored at the event anymore. And I want to thank those Bahamians, including Mr. Claire, but the persons of Bahamian descent who stood up. I had nothing to do with it. I heard about this after it happened from Americans and Bahamians of Bahamian descent who stood up and said, no. What Brave is doing in the Bahamas is wrong. And he can't be honored for that. And I want to thank you for that. All right? And he also honored President of Rwanda. How did you skip over the whole world and get to Rwanda? For doing what? For their contribution to the Bahamas? But there was no explanation of the contribution. How are they aiding the Bahamas? How are they assisting the Bahamas? Tell me. Because you should have explained that. Because there are some Bahamians who have done more for the Bahamas. I don't understand it. But here again, they had to find some foreigner to worship because that is our culture. We worship foreigners. And that leads us to the topic of the day. I'll get back to some of that other stuff in a minute. That leads us back to the topic of the day. Atlantis. we could talk about Atlantis for a minute. I'll park that right there. Time to talk about Atlantis. Atlantis is robbing its Bahamian staff. I'm going to give you some backstory. I want you to hear from this lady one more time. For those of you just tuned in, because the numbers jumped up, right? The system I see, we got 1,400 people watching this now, 1,467. I'm going to play this lady one more time, what she went through. And then, Bahamian people and Atlantis began a war. All right? Okay, let's hear from this lady one more time. One more time.
Sit beside me, jobless. What happened this morning or today?
Well, I was terminated based on an incident that happened on Friday. Friday morning, I was in the Coral Towers dealing with an appeal. When I reached in Royal Towers, they're already in briefing. And I asked to speak with our general manager, which is Mr. Jackson Reach. And the assistant director told me that he was in a meeting. I said, well, he promised me he was coming in briefing this morning. I said, I called him yesterday, and he told me he was coming this morning in briefing. So she went inside and she called, and we stayed downstairs till Mr. Reach came. So when he came, he called me in the office as a shop steward, not a line staff. And the matter we was discussing first was about Independence t-shirts. We know the hotel normally provides the t-shirts for us to wear on Independence Day. They were telling us that we have to buy t-shirts and they wanted us to wear white. So we asked why we couldn't wear the Independence colors. So he then said, okay, y'all could wear the Independence colors as long as it's the colors that's within the flag. So we said, okay. So we asked, why wasn't the hotel providing it this year? Normally they provide it. So he said, they can't afford to provide the t-shirts. So my words to him was, Mr. Reach, I said, y'all treating us like slaves. I said, we come in here every day and we make things happen. I said, is it possible for us to speak with Audrey or Russell Miller to find out why they cannot afford to buy a t-shirt for us? It all started with the t-shirts. So he said, I don't feel as though they treating y'all like a slave. I said, Mr. Reach, I said, that's your feeling. How I feel, you can't speak for me. I said, furthermore, we come in here every day. Sometimes we don't have stuff and we make things happen. Some days we have 1,000 checkouts and we make sure those checkouts are clean for guests to come in and go out. We were busy last week. We had good checkouts, checkout come in. So he was like, oh, I can't answer you that question. So I said, Mr. Reach, well then we'll stay in our work area. We never started work. We never moved out of housekeeping. We were in housekeeping in our briefing area the whole time. I said, Mr. Reach, is it possible for Audrey or Russell to come now? I said, y'all can't buy a $10 t-shirt for us. Y'all can't bring the bus system back. You can't give us our back pay we don't work for. We worked for. I said, could someone come and explain to us what's going on? So
Okay. So basically, what she's saying is Atlanta seller, listen, things tough. We can't afford t-shirts. So you're on your own with that because we can't afford t-shirts. All right, I'll start there. I won't start with the blatant disrespect of the Bahamian people, the blatant disrespect of unions and union busting that's going on right now, which is unlawful. We'll start there. But I'm going to start with the fact that they can't afford t-shirts. No, I won't start. Sorry about that. Let me tell you the history of Atlantis. Atlantis came to the Bahamas. One, Saul Kirshner wanted to come to the Bahamas from South Africa. All right? He was dealing with Pinlin at first. Pinlin wanted him to build this hotel in Andros, which would have been Pinlin's legacy. And of course, Saul entertained him, but he didn't want to have his hotel in Andros. Pinlin was offering him 500,000 acres, all right, to build his hotel. That's a lot of acres, all right. He was giving him basically a better deal than the Port Authority got. He was letting him build a city. So he had a sun city in South Africa. He was going to let him build a real sun city in South Andros, right, with most of the land there that was available. Saul Kirshner didn't want it because, as far as he was concerned, this was a barren land. There was nothing else there other than the hotel. You know, he didn't want to do that airlift and all these other problems. No cruise ships, no nothing. But Pinlin wanted it. And so eventually there was an opportunity for him to go after Paradise Island, and he started pursuing that. And Pinlin started to be angry with him, and they started to have problems. He then worked with Hubert Ingram to get Hubert Ingram elected because Pinlin was going to be blocking him, and he got Hubert Ingram elected. He had purchased the hotel on Paradise Island, and he started his renovations, and he did what he had to do in by 1997 or 98. They opened. Now, several of our banks, 5 of our banks, loaned money to Atlantis in order to open up. They also got investors internationally, but our money built the Atlantis. The money of Bahamian people, my money and your money, out of our bank accounts, helped to build Atlantis. What did we get in exchange? Jobs. We got the opportunity to fold sheets, to serve drinks, to smile, to mop floors, to scrub toilets, to wipe up vomit. Because that is all they think of Bahamians. But change is coming. And so they use our money in order to build their dreams, and we got to scrub the toilets and make up the beds. That is how Atlantis started. And so now, after taking our money to build their dreams, they hired us to scrub the toilets, and now here we are years later, where a chief shop steward has been viciously, brutally, and in my opinion, illegally fired for nothing, just to intimidate other staff. Because if they can keep them intimidated, they won't stand up and they won't do anything. If they can keep the Bahamian people intimidated, crack the whip, whip them. Like the Willie Lynch letter and Making of a Slave. You grab the biggest, baddest slave and you beat him to win an inch of his life. You tar and feather him in front of everybody. And you tie his 2 arms, you tie his 2 legs to 2 different horses. With the image on the Levi jeans. You tie his 2 legs to 2 different horses, and you spank the horses and you split him in 2. And everybody else is gonna say, you know what, we better behave because Massa is serious. And so what they did to that woman right there is that they tied her 2 legs to 2 different horses and split her in 2 so that every other staff member would say, Massa serious. We ain't standing up no more because we need this little job. And that's what they did. Now, they say they don't have any money for, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the screen to my left, so you may see me looking away from you. They don't have any money for certain things, all right? Well, let's look into that, because I like to deal with facts. How many of you like facts? I like facts, all right? I like facts. So we're going to look at some facts in a minute. Give me 1 second, just load this up for you. We're going to look at facts, all right? So I'll pull some stuff up for you. So we're just gonna pull up some facts for you. They say they can't afford to buy no t-shirt. You all pay for your own t-shirt. And if anyone stands up, we will really lynch you. All right. So now they say they couldn't afford a t-shirt, and that's why this old woman got fired, because they was trying to force them to wear t-shirts that they had to pay for. Now watch this. Facts. And I'm doing this because a new government is coming in that's going to stand up for the Bahamian people. But we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, they can't afford a t-shirt, but they bragging about their revenue. Atlantis beats revenue goals. Target strong 2023 first half. What? Atlantis? They beat their revenue goals? So they can't put in a couple dollars for a t-shirt, one t-shirt? For each staff member? They're buying these t-shirts wholesale, I assume. They're buying these t-shirts wholesale, all right? Let me just see something, all right? Let me see something. Something don't make sense. Let me pull up the calculator for you, all right? Here we go. So when I buy t-shirts retail, all right, for politics, I pay $5. So let's just say they pay $5 too. Let's say $5. I don't know how much staff they have. Let's say they have 8,000 staff, right? 8,000. I don't know. I don't think they have that much right now, right? But let's just say they have 8,000 staff. All right, $5 times 8,000 staff, because they only need one t-shirt. This is one day. $5 times 8,000 staff is $40,000. They couldn't afford $40,000 to give their staff one t-shirt. One. Even though they beat their revenue, some of their executives will spend that on dinner. Will spend that on travel, one trip. They couldn't take $40,000 and buy t-shirts. Wholesale will get it for less. This is what I pay. So I know they can get it for less, because I don't buy 8,000 shirts. They couldn't do that. Now maybe something wrong with me. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. All right, that's okay. That's Atlantis. All right, let me see. All right, what's this here? What's happening here? All right, Atlantis. All right, hold on. All right, this is the wrong one. Stop. Hold on, that's wrong. Okay, current now. Okay, that's from the past. Sorry about that. All right. So there will be 7,500 employees. All right. Okay. I'm in the wrong section. I want to show you now something else, even more serious. All right. So Atlantis say they broke, but everything else say they making plenty of money. All right. Everything else, if you Google them quickly, I'm trying to pull up the numbers here. Everything else, let's pull up some numbers. If you look at Atlantis revenue, all you see is money. This one here, it's Atlantis. We make that big for you. Atlantis Bahamian revenue is almost $1 billion. All right. Now, usually they make about $500 million. Usually they make about $500 million. Say they have 500 million. All right, that's usually. They beat their targets, and they can spend $40,000 on a measly T-shirt. They got to make these poor people spend a little couple dollars for a T-shirt. How you all feel with that? And they fire them for daring to question Massa. else. No, I like to deal with facts. All right, facts. I'll show you all something. Make sure you're sitting down. Make sure you're sitting down. All right, for this one. Show you something. So while they can't afford to buy all T-shirts, I can show you something else very interesting. All right, and I hope all of the unions watching this, because I got a message for the unions in a minute. This is comparably where they look at job possibilities and companies they analyze and to see if it's a good place to work. All right, now this is Atlantis. All right, now what I want y'all to see. This Atlantis, Dubai, the Palms. Now remember, our money built that because they took our money and built Atlantis in the Bahamas. When that was successful, they took the money from there and the success from there, and they built Dubai, Atlantis, the Palms, a copy of what's in the Bahamas except no casino. All right? And the people of Dubai, let me show you the difference in our negotiation team. When Atlantis came here, they negotiated with the Bahamian government leaders. And we gave them everything in the kitchen sink. We gave them all the crown land, all the concessions. We gave them everything. Take everything, Saul. We'll even turn the road around for you. Yep. Bay Street used to travel from east to west. Now it's from west to east. So Curtis said he wanted the road turn in the opposite direction, Bay Street and Shirley Street. And the government said, whatever you want. If you want to turn the road around, we can turn the road around. And that's what they did. They gave him everything. He said, I want a new airport. Government said, oh, we'll spend $500 million and build a new airport just for you because we love you. Anything else you need? I need a new bridge. Oh, we will build a new bridge just for you because you like two bridges, not one. They gave him everything and the kitchen sink. Now, when he went to Dubai to negotiate, Dubai said, okay, you can come to our country, but we have to make a deal. You will own half, and the people of Dubai will own half. Atlanta was like, deal? Like, no, we're not finished. We want half of other places. We want a share of whatever you have around the world. We want to share in Sun City. We want to share in what you do in Las Vegas if that come off the ground. We want to share in whatever you got. We want to share in the Bahamas. Deal! They got a share of us, and we ain't got a share of us. Who was the Bahamian negotiators sitting down at the table, giving them everything? Dubai didn't even have no beach. They had to build a place to put a hotel because they had nothing but desert. They didn't have what we have. And our leaders could have said, okay, you're going to own half and the people of the Bahamas are going to own half. But no. No. Why empower Bahamians? And these are the kind of governments you all keep putting in place. And then Atlantis like, deal. He said, no, I'm not finished. No casino because we're Muslim and we don't play that. It's like, deal. Can you imagine that? Casinos where all the money comes in. And they were like, yeah. We just want to be in Dubai. Whatever you say. We need a government that's going to negotiate with foreigners who are going to want to come here so bad that they say whatever you say. You see the difference? When they come here and they want one of our keys or our islands and they want to build some sweet resort, instead of just giving them everything in the kitchen sink, we can tell them, this is what we want, that's what we want, this is what we want, if you want to be here in the Bahamas. And they will say, whatever you want. And we use it as an opportunity to empower Bahamians. But let's go back to the screen. I want you to look at Atlantis, Dubai, and the pay scale. The average compensation in Dubai is $112,000. $112,000. The median compensation is $115,000. Hold on, wait. I think the problem is we in the wrong country. Man, let's read this because something gotta be wrong here. How much do people at Atlantis, Palms, Dubai get paid? All right, the average estimated annual salary, including base and bonus, at Atlantis, Palms, Dubai, is $112,000 or $54 per hour, while the estimated median salary is $115,000 or $55 per hour. At Atlantis, Palms, Dubai, the highest paid job is a corporate counsel, which is $180,000, $86,000 a year. And the lowest is an administrative assistant, which is $46,000 annually. Wow. The average Atlantis, Palm Dubai salaries by department include marketing, $90,000 finance, $87,000 design, $100,000 communications, $82,000. Half of Atlantis, Palm Dubai salaries are above $115,000. What? So hold on. They can pay them that, but they can't pay us that? Now let's look at the salaries. All right. See, unions, I want you all to see this. So when we become government, we can help you fight for this. All right, you can pay our Bahamians properly. So the lowest pay is this year, $55,000. That's an administrative assistant, right? So yeah, business development. Look at all this: 115, communications, 82,000, customer support getting 66,000, design 100,000, engineering. Look at this. Oh wow, HR, IT, legal, marketing, operations, Jesus, product, 130,000, sales, 127,000. Wow. Yep. And Atlantis Palm Dubai perks. You get full health insurance and paid time off, vacation policy. Full health insurance. The company pays for that, not you. It don't come out your salary. They pay for that. Wow. Working at Atlantis. All right. Looking at some of what the staff had to say. It's a luxurious resort to work, nice environment, knowledgeable people, good management. Everything was perfect. I love this place. I'll work again and again. Good facility for the employees. Always good training programs for all employees. Luxurious accommodation for the employees. Wow. Pros. Everything was provided by the company. Everything was provided by the company. Oh, wow. Wow. Farmers, I think the problem is we have the wrong people negotiating, and we have people with a slavery mentality negotiating for us. I think that's what the problem is. All right. Yep, definitely what the problem is. How is it that they can get paid that much and we get slave wages and then we get treated like slaves? How is that? How is that possible? So they say Atlantis, Dubai makes about $1 billion. Here is it was about the same thing, 900 million or so. but they can cover everything, but we can't. We need a government that's going to respect our people. Now, here we go. I want the Davis administration to listen to me because they watch all of my lives and they go shopping for ideas on my live. Here is an idea, Philip Brave Davis. Here's an idea, Chester Cooper. If I were Prime Minister at this time, when Atlantis unlawfully fired a shop steward, let me tell you what would have happened. Let me tell you exactly what would have happened. In fact, let me show you. Let me see if I have that loaded for you so you can see. Let me tell you exactly what would have happened if Lincoln Bain was Prime Minister and Atlantis had tried this nonsense. All of their work permits, they would have gotten a warning. All of their work permits would have been canceled. There would have been a warning. Their tax concessions would have been taken away. There would have been serious repercussions, which might have gone as far as their license being revoked. First, their casino license. You will not come in this country and touch a Bahamian and not expect war. I respect one of the actions of Mia Motley when she first came to power in Barbados. There's something she did that I respect. And that was Mia Motley called a meeting. I think it was 12 or 1 a.m. in the morning. She called a press conference and she told everyone that they must be there. She said, everyone get here to this press conference now. Everyone must be there. And the media must show up. And everyone showed up. And she called it at that hour to make sure everyone knew who was in charge, who was the boss. And she wasn't playing with them. That's why she called it that hour. And that woman told everybody, so I hear foreigners are getting treated differently than Bahamians in our country. And she made it abundantly clear that that will happen no more in Barbados. That you will respect Bajans or leave their country. It's very simple. And she made that abundantly clear. You will respect Bajans or get lost. And guess what? All of those foreigners, those hotels, everyone else, they fell in line. They said, you know what? It's their country. We want to come to their country and make money. And so guess what? We are going to behave ourselves the way we should behave ourselves. And guess what? They had no problems with Bajans being mistreated in their country. Our politicians, we routinely suck up to the foreigner. Because that's how they get their under the table money. I want you to see something. This is the document they used to fire that lady that you heard talk. Yeah, we have it. This is the document. Princess Adley is her name. RT Housekeeping, Room Attendant, issued by Gia Moxie. All right. Is that Gia Moxie I went to law school with? I wonder if it's Gia Moxie. Nice lady. All right. Date engaged. She was there from 12 of June $19.99. Wow, she gave them her youth. She gets paid bi-weekly at $487.50. Mom, you need to apply to Dubai immediately. They get paid a little bit more than that, but your problem is you're Bahamian in the Bahamas. All right. The reason for suspension was gross insubordination. It says on Friday, June 30th, 2023, in the Royal Housekeeping Department, you instigated an unlawful work stoppage / sit out. You were subsequently instructed by VP GM Jackson Beach on several occasions to commence active duties. You refused something I can't understand. Reasonable requests and demonstrated behavior that was unacceptable. Such actions were egregious and will not be tolerated. And this is when she was suspended. Sorry, this is when she first got suspended for 2 days. And she was to return on July 6th, when she was subsequently fired. And they asked her to sign this, and she did. Union officials stop short. Signature. That was a union official being fired in the Bahamas. So a decision has to be made. Are we going to allow a foreign company that we built to do that? Every dollar of the $500 million to $1 billion that Atlantis makes, they make because of the staff, not because of them. The staff serve the drink. They're the stars. The reason basketball players get paid a lot of money is because people are coming to see them. When I go to the hotel, I'm coming for the drinks, for the food, for the entertainment. I'm not coming for you. Pay our people properly and respect us. Are we going to let this happen is the question. I see that the unions have decided they're going to stand up, and I'm going to stand with them. Not as a political leader, as a Bahamian. I'm going to stand with them. And when the clarion call is made, I'm going to be there. I call on all Bahamians to be there. Mr. Woods, I see Belinda Wilson speaking. I see other persons speaking out. This is the time to band together as Bahamians. You can't let them get away with this, because it's hot today that they did the Willie Lynch on. It could be anyone tomorrow. There's someone under the sound of my voice right now, or someone who saw what happened to her, who is going to be next. Remember, I told you these words. We have no idea who it is, but there's a target right now, an invisible target on someone else's back, and they're next. And they would only be next if we don't stand up as a people. So I'm calling on the unions to unite. Come together as a Bahamian people. Put your differences aside. All unions in this country, and shut Atlantis down. Do not allow them to do what they're doing. I'm calling on the government to stand up for our people. Stand up, man. Where's the Minister of Labor in all of this? Where's the Minister of Labor? Atlantis have some applications before Labor right now that they want to be approved for work permits, right? agents of labor, do your job. I'm going to open the phone lines. Again, I call on all of you. There's a lady that I was supposed to interview today who was wronged by some doctors and even some lawyers. And I was supposed to bring her on the show today. But I had some technical difficulties, so I couldn't bring her on. I'm going to bring her on my next show. All right? Her story is going to blow your mind. I'm going to open the phone lines now as I continue to talk. I'm going to let you chime in. You have to WhatsApp call me, 803-5995. You have to WhatsApp call me. 803-5995 is the number. Please call. 803-5995. What do you think about all of this that we have discussed? What do you think about Atlantis? What do you think about this independent sham? Did you know about Atlantis and all of and how our money built Atlantis? Did you know that? Well, now you know. We had to educate the Bahamian people, and we will continue to do so. All right. So we have to wise up as a people. We have to wake up as a people, because if we don't, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. 803-5995 is the number. Call in. Put that on the screen so you can see it. 803-5995 is the number. So I have to keep looking up. Good afternoon, you are live.
Hi, Lincoln. How you doing?
I am awesome. How you doing?
I'm good. The union is in Atlantis pocket, and nothing is going to come out of it.
You think so?
From Crystal Palace time, they let everyone go under the window. I think Perry to just get it, and they closed down Crystal Palace, and they let every staff go. And the union didn't have anything to say but it. The union is the worst of the worst. We need a new union. Darren Woods is the worst, and Miss Martin is even worse than him.
Are you serious?
I'm telling you, I've been to Crystal Palace and Atlantis.
Oh my God. But this might have given them a wake-up call, man. This got to be the one that's going to wake them up and cause them to want to do something. You don't think so?
Yes, I hope so. We need to be on one accord, and we need a higher pay inside the Bahamas. $6 an hour that's slavery.
Wow. Wow. $6 an hour. You see how much they get paid at Atlantis to buy?
Yes, it's sickening. It is sickening.
Wow.
We pay the union $10 every week. We work one day, they still take out their $10.
What?
At the end of the day, the union is the worst. They really need someone else in power, and I feel Brave. Brave gotta go. Have a good night.
All right, good night. Good night. Brave is on his way out. The clock is ticking. 803-5995. 803-5995. 803-5995. Call us in. Let's see what you have to say about all of this. The lady says, she thinks the union is weak. Good afternoon, you're live. You're live.
Good night, Lincoln. How you doing?
I'm alive. How you doing?
Okay. Well, that's a common problem in most of those hotels when you hire these Bahamian executives. They always, like little minions, they mistreat their own people. And a lot of them, they go from hotel to hotel with the same mentality. And that isn't the first time that I've heard, because I used to work in a hotel myself. I've heard Jackson, Leach, and all of those executives, they treat the Bahamians poorly there. He used to wait breezes, they actually run them from there. A lot of them. They pull a lot of deals,
Wow.
Like even contractors like myself, we cannot even get contracts to render services to none of those hotel properties, because those persons like minions like Jackson Reach, they get under the table deals. Do you know that the Agla right now, he has the largest contract for the dock for the ducks in the kitchens.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get in there.
Wow.
I sent several proposals out for years, and they say they're satisfied with the service they get now. And I understand he owns that there, and he also got a contract at Bahama too, and he got a contract at Breezes. We can't get in there. These guys have their things underneath the table, man.
Wow.
All of them are corrupt. That's Bahamians doing that to Bahamians.
We're gonna fix that, all right?
Qualified.
We're gonna fix that.
Yeah, you know you can fix that. You gotta fix it. They take deals, all of them. All of Jackson Reeds, I can call their names. I know all of them. They take bribes. In fact, I had an opportunity to listen to a conversation with them trying to kind of deal with somebody. They're not gonna let guys like me come in there. And I've been in this business now for about 26 years. And I can't even get in Atlantis. I cannot get in Bahama. No, they cut deals. All those high executives, those Bahamian executives, they do a dirty on the table deal. That's what they do. But I hope when you get in, you could do an intense investment.
While we're in the middle of all this, is 8035995. I just want to mention that we're gonna have a walk. We're gonna have a dollar drive. We're going at 9 a.m. We're gonna be at Marathon, at the Marathon Junction at the light by the mall. At 9 a.m. we're going to be there. We want as many of you as possible to come and assist us with collecting. Yeah, we're gonna have bottles out there and we're gonna collect. Because we're not taking any money from any oligarchs. We're only going to hold the Bahamian people when we get into power. And so if you're able to come and assist us, all of our team, we need you to be there at 9 a.m. at the Marathon Light. Now, other people are normally also there doing their thing. They can also be there. We're going to be there doing our thing. We're not going to run anybody. And we're going to collect because we're doing this for country. All right? We're doing this for country. We have to fund the movement. All right. We have some islands that want us to come there. Some islands that want us to come, have town meetings, etc., that we're headed to. We got to fund this. All right. So wherever you are in the Bahamas, we're going to be there from I think 9 until probably midday. So please make an effort to come and meet us out there and drop in the bottle. All right. Come and assist us in whatever way you can. Please. We have to fund the movement. Right, so we're headed to Eleuthera. I think it's the 28th, and we're going to Eleuthera. We're gonna make the announcement in short order, but we're gonna have a town hall meeting down there, and we're gonna have walkabouts down there. We're also headed next month to Andres, and so those are the two ones that we're having right now. So July is Eleuthera. Andres is Andres is in August. All right, so make sure that you let your family in those islands know that we are coming. All right, make sure they know that we are coming. 8035995 is the number. 8035995. So while we're waiting on you to call, just want to touch on a couple of other things while we're doing that. I wanted to put a video up here, but I'm not going to put the video up. I just want you to see this. Do you know what this is? This barge full of sand is in the Nassau Harbor every single day. In the morning it goes out to sea, and in the evening it comes back every single day. And they are picking up sand right around Nassau, and then they are taking it to Awawaki. I should have shown you the pictures of Awaki. But if you go to Awaki right now and you pass Awaki, you are going to see. You're going to see it. You're going to see them on Awaki, and you're going to see the sand. The sand that they say has no value. You're going to see it. It's time for us to wake up, Bahamas. Because if we don't wake up, everybody except us is going to benefit from what is ours. Everybody. 8035995. So, again, we're calling on the unions to stand up and fight. I'm going to touch back to Keith Bell because we're getting ready to file some papers because this is the response of the government to to the Bahamian people, saying that Keith Bell has done wrong. He said Bell does not need to resign. He did not give any citizenship to anyone at the funeral. The old Prime Minister said Bell does not need to resign because he didn't give any citizenship to anyone at the funeral. If a minister faked giving a citizenship at a funeral, he should resign. Do you all hear me? If a minister even faked, lied to the public that he gave citizenship at a funeral, he should resign. Now, Brave Davis is making this statement because they heard that we're going to sue. So they're going to come back and say now, oh, well, I don't know why Lincoln them suing because we didn't really do it. We was playing. Remember how Minas did the Oban deal and then he came back and said, oh, that wasn't a real signing. We was playing. In fact, we had already signed the deal the week before that we didn't know about. So they're saying that Keith Bell staged a whole lie. That's what the Prime Minister is saying. That Keith Bell staged a whole lie. Yes.
What the I saw that my way, the message was from his wife. See, my family getting treatment for the private guy gave one more. What I'm about to do is unorthodox. Some of my fair lads are indeed unorthodox. I want this racing, I want you to build up a little bit of strength. Like Magdu Selma, Madame Magdi, was a church I asked, they are support the Magmadon English to Paul Nasa as I'm about to bestow citizenship. Passing my Bible to Mamone, Madame, avec famille, petite bio campé. Mamado, s'il vous plaît, pour nous. Des témoignages, children don't have to take the oath. Testimony by Mr. Mate, but adults have to take the oath. Mais Ramoni will Mr. Mate. Tracy, you repeat after me and say I, and then full name. I, full name. Do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to King Charles III, King of the Bahamas, his heirs and successors, according to law, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So help me God. La loi does not allow me to dispense with any part of what I'm doing. And so we will now sing the national anthem. va commencer tout le monde, s'il vous plaît, camper. C'est parti. À 3, 1, 2, 3. And the children, it's in Munio on behalf of the Honorable Prime. The Papa, the Bahamian. Thank you very much, Nancy. And the children, it's in Munio on behalf of the Honorable Prime. The Papa, the Bahamian, the cabinet, the cabinet, and behaviors everywhere. Et tout pays, tout partout. I welcome you. Nous vous bienvenue à ce nouveau citizens comme nouveaux citoyens de Bahamas. Certificate by saying that Frank is now resting in peace.
So what the Prime Minister is saying is that Keith Bell lied on the Prime Minister, the Cabinet, and all the people of the Bahamas by saying that he issued citizenship to this woman and her children. And he gave them the certificate. The Prime Minister is saying that Keith Bell lied. But he shouldn't resign? Only in the Commonwealth of Narnia. I don't know what to say other than this is what we all signed up for when we allowed the PLP to get back in power. This is what you asked for. Every single Bahamian knows what happens every time the Bahamians come to power. So every time the PLP comes to power, you know what happens. What happens every time the PLP comes to power? This.
Before the break, the question put to you was, people still associate you with the past administration that was labeled as corrupt and so forth. Do you believe that is to a negative with your electability? And how do you separate yourself from that and into what many people are now calling for, saying we need new blood? People are now saying we don't want the PLP, we don't want the FNM, they're two of the same. What do you say to that? That is a tough hurdle for any party to overcome. What do you say regarding that?
Well, first of all, I served in the last administration, the Christie administration, as Deputy Prime Minister, with other portfolios. I'm not ashamed of having served for those 5 years, and I can say that, and I say it publicly. Let me just say that the Christie administration did what they thought was best. The priorities and choices made was what they thought and I thought was best at that time. The label of being corrupt, I reject out of hand.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt act.
Are you serious?
I know nothing. Nothing.
Marathon Member of Parliament Jerome Fitzgerald had his emails to Bahamar developer Sarkis Merlian printed in the Tribune newspaper. The emails showed that Fitzgerald sought to lock down Bahamar contracts which would have gotten his family's company some big bucks. Kyle Joaquin tells us more.
As a Tribune article thrust the MP into the spotlight. The story included alleged email correspondence between Fitzgerald and former Bahamian developer Sarkis Merlian, where it is alleged the cabinet minister reportedly sought to secure millions of dollars in brokerage, trucking, and limousine contracts at Bahamar. Just this past Tuesday, Fitzgerald and Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson denied having personal business interests in Bahamar. Today, after his nomination, Fitzgerald wouldn't say much on the matter.
I'm going to have a press statement on that later, so I'll respond to that later.
Later today?
Yeah, today, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Some people say you should.
I'll respond to that. I'll respond to that later today.
In one email released by the Tribune, Fitzgerald seeks to solidify a relationship between China State Construction and Bahamas Cargo Limited for BCL, a company owned by Fitzgerald's family, to collect paperwork and clear shipments for the resort. In another email dated May 18, 2013, Fitzgerald writes Ismerlian requesting a brokerage contract. He writes, as indicated, we are ready to start brokerage and trucking for the Bahamar project and remain the brokers after opening. I would really appreciate it if we could be appointed your official broker for June 2013. But still, no answer from Fitzgerald.
Any other questions? Okay.
Reporters also sought to get a response from Prime Minister Perry Christie.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
To show that he
This is just the latest scandal to rock the Christie administration involving Fitzgerald. The MP was embroiled in controversy last year after he read the private emails of Save the Bay's members in Parliament. And a year before that, the report on the Marathon Rubis fuel spill.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt act.
I know nothing. Nothing.
The police denied the arrest and release of a consul general over the weekend is leading to new opposition claims that the Christie administration is again interfering with the course of justice. In a press statement, the Free National Movement quoted eyewitnesses to the incident who claimed that Bahamas Consul General to Atlanta, Randy Roll, was arrested by police in Bimini last Friday after he used obscenities against officers who would not allow him and his 3 American guests to enter a restricted area which had been cordoned off by police. They claim as a result of his behavior and language, Roll was placed into a police vehicle while one of his female companions repeatedly beat on the police car as he was being driven away. The opposition claims Roll used his one call while in police custody to contact Prime Minister Perry Christie, and that eventually a call was made from the police commissioner to the head of the Bimini police station, followed by Roll's release from custody. The FNM says Prime Minister Perry Christie is now duty-bound to explain to the Bahamian people the circumstances surrounding Roll's arrest and subsequent release. Government has yet to respond.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt.
Oh, you have got to be kidding me.
Act.
Police are still investigating recent claims that Agriculture Minister V. Alfred Gray used his office to secure the release of a convicted man in Mayaguana. The FNM now suggests that abuse of power appears to be systemic within the Progressive Liberal Party. The FNM is calling for a full report on this latest incident to be sent to the Commissioner of Police and made public.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt act.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Mr. Mitchell held a press conference today, accompanied by his attorney, Raynard Rigby, after the comments made in the Senate linking him to the distribution of visas and passports to ineligible applicants. He blamed a Foreign Service officer for the statements, which showed up in a WikiLeaks document which Senator Folks referenced in Parliament yesterday.
Because I'm not aware of any of my colleagues in that cabinet having committing any corrupt act.
Opposition members objected to those comments on a point of order. However, the Prime Minister cautioned them not to speak too soon as the water and sewage forensic report was to come. Opposition leader Philip Davis responded to that and claims about the termination cause for that lifetime contract.
I'd like you to know that I was advised this morning that I'm named somehow in that. I know nothing about it, right? But I don't, no one is doing me any favor to say to me that my name may appear in a report that's being written. I don't know whether it's adverse to me or not, but what I can say on the record, that no one has spoken to me about anything in relation to Water and Sewage Corporation. And I would have thought that it will be totally unfair for any report to be written about me without speaking to me about it. But I'll wait it. I accept that a termination period of 3 years may not be a normal termination period, right? But one has to understand the circumstances under which that term was agreed.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was your now Prime Minister, who then said he ain't see no corruption, and now he is saying that. Okay, all right, and so your country is passing through, I guess. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to fight for this country. We are building a country where Bahamians will be put first, that we will stand up for all Bahamians. A country where we will benefit from our natural resources, our carbon credits, our seagrass is now scientifically reported to be worth $156 billion. That's $1 million for every Bahamian 21 and over. And y'all still thinking about the PLP and F&M? Listen, if that works for you, then vote for them and keep being beggars that they want you to be. I don't have to say anything else. The scientists have shown us that our seagrass alone, this isn't our mangroves, this isn't anything else, this isn't our forests or anything else. It was worth $156 billion monetized in carbon credits. If you say, well, why would Lincoln? They didn't give it to us, you know. They lied to us. Why would Lincoln give it to us? Because Lincoln won his too, for him and his family. I want mine. I want my children to get theirs. I want my family to get theirs. Lastly, I want to mention this to you. There's a reason, you know, people ask me why I'm religious, why I believe in God. Some people don't. You know, I had an accident where I mashed my finger in a big iron gate. Almost lost my finger here going to PMH. Went to the States and because they really were gonna amputate this, and went to the US, went to the hospital, and they did an X-ray and they saw where it was broken. It was showing up on the X-ray that it was broken, and it was infected according to the oozing and the other stuff. I don't know, it's gross. All right, and according to the tests, it was infected, and they wanted to rush me to see if they could save how much they could save, and to stop it from getting to the rest of my body. And so, you know, they said they have to transfer me by ambulance to the other location where they have a hand specialist, and they drafted a report. The doctor actually put on here in handwriting, just rushing, trying to print this out, you know, surgery and all this kind of stuff, and it's broken, all this stuff he put on there. And then what was so interesting, all right, they sent me to the surgery team. What was so interesting, and you'll understand when I finish saying this why I believe. Look at anybody else. You know, this was their diagnosis. I'm sorry, it looks like it's backwards. Open finger fracture. It says you have a broken finger. That's the first words on there. you have a broken finger, see? And not only do you have a broken finger, there's a cut, open wound, puncture, deep scrape, causes swelling, swelling, bruising, causes open injury, there's infection uh, in the skin and bone. You said, talk about antibiotics. It's going to take 4 weeks to heal. They talk about surgery and then body taping and all this kind of stuff they were going to do. Gave me instructions, for what's going to happen. They want to, and they rushed me to the other hospital where they had the surgeon. And when I got there, the doctor that agreed with me said, okay, yes, finger's broken, according to the x-rays, you have infection, all this stuff. And they were waiting on the hand surgeons to come. And when the hand surgeon came a couple hours later, he looked at my finger and he said, oh, no, wait, this isn't the same finger that they sent me the picture of a couple hours ago. See, your finger looks like it's healed. See, your finger looks healed. He said, there's something, no, this can't be the same finger. Did they take a picture? Did you have any other fingers injured? No. Oh, this finger looks healed. And he called for more x-rays, focusing on the finger, and more blood tests, etc. They did the x-rays, did the blood tests, and the other surgeon came, and both of them were there. And they came and they sat me down, and they said, well, Mr. Bain, we want to explain something to you, even though we can't fully explain it. And they said, your finger isn't broken anymore. And they held up the 2 x-rays, and it was like, your finger is broken. Here, look. See, it's broken. But here, it's not broken anymore within a couple of hours. It's not broken anymore. So we can't explain it. The other doctors came in, nurses, they were crowded around. Everyone was looking at the 2 x-rays. They were looking at the test results. They were crowded around the computer looking at the results. We were like, what in the world is this? He said, what's strange is that even if your finger was somehow miraculously healed, when they test for the white blood cells, it should be elevated, but you're normal as if nothing happened, even though earlier it was. So they can't explain it. He said, you had a miracle. He literally said, he said, all I can tell you is, he laughed. He said, go and sin no more. You're healed. And so they did a second report, discharge report. And all it says is, what does it say? Hand bruise. All right. Said you have a bruise or contusion. There's swelling and some bleeding under the skin, but no broken bones. It says it right there. I believe. I'm not going to tell anyone what religion to believe, what to believe in, because we're going to have a country for all people, even for people who don't believe in anything. But I just want to tell you my experience. I believe. And this is where my faith and my courage comes from, because I believe. And so the doctor said they witnessed a miracle. They caught it around, and they couldn't believe it. They sent me to a third specialist a couple of days later to make sure that what they were saying was right. And the third specialist said, yeah, you had some kind of miracle, and it's documented. I've had many of those. We're going to have a miracle in our country. Our country right now is broken and bleeding for our people. Bahamians all over our country are suffering. There's no one to fight for them. There's no one to believe in them. They've been beaten and breaking us for years. But something is on the horizon. And I want all of you to believe with me, to stand with me and believe that we can have a Bahamas that is for Bahamians. A Bahamas where Bahamians will be first, where all of us can benefit from our natural resources. Ladies and gentlemen, I go live again on Sunday as we continue our march towards the new Bahamas. Ladies and gentlemen, everything I've been telling you over the years is the truth. I'm not a Johnny come lately. I've been fighting for Bahamians for 20 years now, over 20 years now. Never asking for anything in return. It was my way of giving back. Now I'm fighting for the Bahamas, for all Bahamians. And I ask you to stand with me. On Saturday, at 9 a.m. To midday, we're going to have our dollar drive. Support the movement. Support the movement. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for believing in the ones who have been telling you the truth. The PLP and FNM have been lying to you. They've been lying to you. They said we have no natural resources. Then they said it was worth nothing until we started showing their signatures on the contracts where they were giving away our natural resources. Bahamas, wake up. There can be a new Bahamas for your children. You don't have to worry anymore about the price of milk, the price of gas. The politicians don't worry about these things. You do. Those days are over for Bahamians. Let's transform this country together. Believe in me as I believe in you. Ladies and gentlemen, a new Bahamas is coming. We're not doing this for ourselves. We are going to take power away from the Prime Minister, take power away from the politicians, and give it to the Bahamian people. By implementing island states and city government, something big is on the horizon. Our wealth is in the water. There are trillions of dollars worth of treasure proven, discovered by Spain in our waters. Trillions of dollars. There are trillions of dollars of natural resources. Are you going to continue to let them fool you? Are you going to continue to vote for party? Or is it time to vote for self? I think it's time to vote for self. I'm sorry if I didn't answer any of your comments because I couldn't see them. I have to look up at the big screen to see what's going on. There's no screen in front of me. But ladies and gentlemen, talk to your friends and family. That's how this message is going to go out. They've already bought out the media in anticipation of blocking us. Talk to your friends and family. Every day if you have to, don't give up on them. Our house called the Bahamas is on fire. If we don't fix this, we will not just be second class. We're going to be pushed out of our country. A war is coming. A war is on the horizon. And your children can't fight this battle that is to come. We have to stand up now. Come together, all Bahamians, black Bahamians, white Bahamians, all Bahamians. Let's come together. Let the foreigners vote for the PLB and FNM. Let us vote for ourselves. Let's bring this change. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We always appreciate you. We love you. And we're doing this fight for you. We're doing this fight for you. All of our sacrifice is because of you. We can benefit from our natural resources. We can. There's nothing stopping us. They discovered oil in 1986 in Bahamian waters. Don't mind what they just did with BPC. That was a sham. Oil has already been discovered. Cuba is already drilling for oil. They've already discovered oil. They're extracting oil from the same reservoir that we have access to. Cuba is doing it right now. Farmers, are we going to go 50 years backwards or 50 years forward? The next 50 years will be the best 50 years. It's time to move forward. It's time for a new way of thinking. It's time to empower all Bahamians. That's what we're about. That's what the Coalition of Independence is about. And they're going to fight us. They're going to lie on us. They're going to say all manner of things about us. They're going to spread rumors. Every week they got a new rumor about me. But I'm prepared to stand up for you and stand in the gap. Saturday from 9 a.m. to about midday, we're going to be out there. So if you want to come out and help collect, or if you want to come out and donate, please come out and donate. Let's make this happen. We're fighting this together. Ladies and gentlemen, a new Bahamas is coming. A new Bahamas is here. See you next time.
What happened in Dubai with the citizens?
Monarchy, and monarchy take care of their people and make sure that they're paid 2,000 per family, maybe 3,000. And life is cheaper there. Life is cheaper, but all the Dubai citizens are paid, very paid.
From who?
From the monarch, from the king.
From the king?
Yeah, from the king.
Wow.
Money comes in through the government. The government distributes the money to the people. And there are no poor people. They're like only
Dubai,
poor people in
you
Dubai
cannot be
are
poor.
those that came
No
from
poor
another
in
country.
Dubai.
No poor in Dubai.
Just like Kuwait. They get money, like almost like American Indian the casinos. The money goes out to the people. Okay? And the only poor people in Dubai or Kuwait are those who come from other countries to work for the citizens that are there.
Wow.
And in Israel, if you're a citizen, you get a lot of $10,000 and $50,000, but you have to wait per person.
Wow. Bahamas. It's happening around the world. In the Bahamas, we are a rich nation.
We are a rich nation.
And the
beautiful
Bahamas
nation.
government refuses to give us money. Change is coming
change.
to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people wonder how Dubai became a very big, famous and rich city.
You see, if you're comparing with Nigeria, listen to this. Nigeria has oil before than Dubai. It's a history. They are more rich than us. They have agriculture, they have mining, they have everything, you name it, they have it. Am I right or wrong? When you have a true leadership, which we have nothing, but we have everything because we have the right leadership. That's the only thing you need, a right leader for your country, not corruption. That's what brings your country at the top. You don't need anything. We want water, we don't have agriculture, we don't have mining.
That's quite interesting.
And that's Sheikh Mohammed. Number one, he doesn't know number two, he needs only number one. He says, I don't know, there's no number two in my book. Only number one.
I hear he doesn't ride in the convoy.
This may be the best citizenship in the world, and they all have it. Because of this card, they get free land, free education, free weddings, free hospitals, and even a free funeral. It's the citizenship of a country in the Middle East called the United Arab Emirates. This is what life is like for citizens from the Emirate of Dubai. And because the city is so generous, they get the craziest benefits I have ever seen. Are you ready for this? When you are born, your parents pay nothing. Your delivery and checkups for the next 9 months are all free. Then you grow up and you go to school. Local school in Dubai is free! And so are universities, because Dubai will pay for you to get a degree.
I studied at Zayed University and New York University, both for free.
Who's gonna pay for that?
The government.
Then you get married. If you can't afford the wedding, you get $20,000 to throw a wedding. And after marriage, every local Dubai family gets this. Free land. Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Yes.
Did you get free land?
Sure, yes.
And if you cannot afford the home, then you get a grant to build it for free.
I also can't afford building a house. I can get a 0-interest loan on housing.
Zero?
Zero.
If you need to go to the hospitals are free. And if you need surgery that's not available here, they will fly you to another country to get treatment for free. When you become a senior citizen, you get discounts, many discounts. And if you live alone and can't afford it, Dubai will even send a caretaker to look after you for free. And when you die, well, in Dubai, that's also free. Your funeral will be taken care of. and Dubai will build a full tent with air conditioning within 5 hours of your death next to your home so your friends can come and say goodbye to you. The point of government is to take care of people, and in Dubai, they take it to the extreme. Imagine if every city, every state, every government in the world did this. We would have a much happier world.
I don't know how you did this in 50 years. You look at history. Who does this? Show me anybody else that has done this in 50 years. I'm waiting. Show them to me. This wasn't done by money. Money doesn't produce visions. Visions produce money. You've had leadership over here that were visionaries, great visionaries, and their vision was more about the people than the money. Because you can't accomplish this in 50 years without loving your people first. Because the people are the ones that's benefiting from this. Look at your health care. Look at your road system. Look at your highway system. Look at your airports. Who does this in 50 years? But who benefits? You're going to care about those people. It's something to be learned about what's been done over here that could be duplicated in the world, because there's people with this much money. You just don't have people with this much love for their people.